gentlemen, boys and girls, how y'all doing on this Sunday morning? Well, late Sunday morning, early afternoon for me, I guess. Whatever you want to call it, whatever time zone you're in. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man, 1993, and we are here live for my live preview and predictions of tonight's AEW Extravaganza. All Elite Wrestling begins their third cycle of pay-per-views tonight, as it was this show back in 2019. To remember the exact date, I think it was 28th. Can't remember when the AEW Double Or Nothing 2019 was, but it was the debut show for All Elite Wrestling. Of course, they didn't start Dynamite until October 2nd, 2019, but this is the show where it all began. Double or Nothing, and it is the third edition of this special pay-per-view. Of course, this is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are going to do my live preview and predictions for this 10-match card that we have scheduled for tonight. Well, 9 on the main show, 1 on the buy-in. Last I knew it was just 1 on the buy-in. And we'll go over all the predictions and whatnot and see where it goes from there. I will be watching it live tonight with my good friend Daniel Gaiza from his house. I will probably not, though, review this show until Tuesday, because tomorrow's Memorial Day. I'm spending the whole day with my girlfriend. I'm actually going to try to go down and spend the night with her after the pay-per-view tonight. But it's going to be late, and she's about 45 minutes away, so depends on how I'm feeling, but I'm hoping to be down there. So I'm not going to review the show tonight. Most likely not tomorrow night either, because I got to get up early for work on Tuesday. But I will be live on Tuesday to review this show. So, let's talk about the show. How is it going to be? I have good expectations for the show. I think it's going to be a good card. It's pretty well packed. I'm hoping, of course, the big thing I'm hoping for is the finish. I'm just hoping the finish does not end how it did at Revolution, with that exploding barbed wire death match, which was excellent, don't get me wrong, but then that finish with the where like the whole ring's supposed to collapse basically, and it pretty much didn't. It was just a big however noise I'm trying to make. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. But of course, AEW, obviously has some little kinks here and there, but at least they own up and admit they screwed up. They're not like WWE, who's trying to say, just sweep it under the rug or blame it on someone else. They admit it. They screwed up. But this is going to be an interesting card. Like I said, there's 10 matches on this card, 1 buy-in, couple really good championship matches that I'm looking forward to, especially that TNT championship match. I am glad, though, looking at this card, to double check, there is only two tag matches. That's one complaint I've had about AEW pay-per-views. I felt like they had a little too many tag matches involved. Like, you don't need to have half the card be tag matches. I do wish, though, I know we probably have like a big stipulation already with the predicted main event, in my opinion, the Stadium Stampede, which that'll be the main event I'm predicting. But there is a couple maybe like 1 or 2 other matches. Well, really just one that I felt could have used a stipulation, and that's the World Tag Title match. I feel like that should have been a street fight. So I'm not going to knock that. There really isn't too many matches I feel like, okay, it would have been hit or miss, better off with, with the stipulation. That match, I really think it should have had a stipulation. But there's definitely several candidates on this card to definitely steal the show. To me, it could either be the Stadium Stampede match, it could be the women's title match, it could be the TNT Championship match, even the World Tag Title match, if I didn't say it before. But yeah, a pretty good card here. So, let's check the live chat first, see if we got anybody here. We've got Tian Couponer. What's up, Tian Couponer? Not too bad. Just, again, getting over a day of doing a lot of traveling for a wedding gig, but I made it home safe last night around midnight after a 2.5 hour drive home from State College. Yeah, I'm doing good. And he says, pretty good card tonight. The card is usually pretty well stacked for the most part for AEW pay-per-views. And this one's stacked too. I still say the most stacked card, and it did deliver, of course, was Full Gear 2020 last fall. Still, in my opinion, though, probably AEW's best pay-per-view so far. Full Gear from 2020. I still think that was their best show. But this could be pretty good too. Any AEW show, to me, has always had good hype. Some of the shows deliver good. Some of them, all AEW shows have been good. There's been a couple, though, that didn't deliver as well as I had hoped, but they were still good. Like, I say the weakest show to me still, for pay-per-view wise, not including any, like, specials like Fyter Fest or Fight for the Fallen, I still say it was All Out last year. That one, I think it wasn't completely everyone's fault. I think the biggest problem, though, with All Out was, one, it was hot, and two, they kind of lost the crowd after the Matt Hardy incident. And they just weren't able to regain them back. So, but this, and another thing, too, that's exciting about this show in general, this is the first pay-per-view since AEW Revolution 2020 that we're getting a full crowd. It's going to take place still at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. They're hitting the road. AEW's hitting the road again sometime in July, I think it is when they go back on the road, just like WWE. But of course, AEW did it first, so WWE had to do it next. So yeah, this will be the first big show in front of a live crowd, and I'm pretty sure they're going to stack the heck out of that show. And since it's the beginning of July, who knows? It could be like last July they did that 2-week special of Fyter Fest. Then they did Fight for the Fallen the following week because that's around the time where John Moxley had a quarantine because Renee Young had the virus. So I'm guessing probably they may do like Fyter Fest or something like that around there, just so really stack the card and bring it back, which could have a match coming out of this show based off the Casino Battle Royale. But I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. Let's get rolling and start talking. I've almost been talking for like 9 minutes and we haven't even talked about a single match yet. But let's get rolling here because I do have some other things I got to take care of today before the show. So let's talk. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to predict the matches in order, of course, as I always do, predicting me order. But obviously, the first match is the buy-in match, which is going to be the NWA Women's Championship match between Serena Deeb and Riho, the first ever AEW Women's Champion. Serena Deeb recently returned after being out of action for 3 months with an injury. She had a great match on Dynamite a couple weeks ago against Red Velvet, who is also, to me, upcoming star, but she's already making herself known. I think it should be a good match here. Again, Serena Deeb, I've always seen very good matches from her in AEW and in the Mae Young Classic when she was in that. Riho, despite the fact that she had a very weak championship reign as the first AEW Women's World Champion because, most of the time she wasn't there. That's probably the reason why. She's still a good wrestler. The match I saw from her in the AEW Women's Championship Eliminator tournament were good. And again, she's always put on good matches. So I'm not going to knock her off there. And she's still young. She's like 23? I can't remember how old she is, but I know she's young. How old is Rio? How old is Riho? How old this Rio? Completely type up there. Yeah, 23. She's 23 years old. June 4th, 1997. Her birthday's coming up. Nice. But yeah. She's still young, has many years ahead of her. I think she'll be great. As far as who's going to retain, I think it's going to be Serena. I'm picking Serena to retain the championship. I don't see her dropping it to Rio. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't watch NWA or any other wrestling promotion outside of like AEW or WWE. Once the blue moon, I watch Impact with my friend Joe. Mostly it's like an Impact pay per view or whatnot. But I'm assuming Serena Deeb's probably not going to drop the title unless if it's like on an episode of NWA or whatever heck their shows are called or what are their shows. That's what I think. We're probably going to see her drop the championship like somewhere then. Like John Moxley was not going to drop the IWGP United States Championship on an episode of Dynamite to someone in New Japan. I mean, they could have. It could have been Swerve, but maybe it's just because I don't watch much New Japan or whatnot. But Serena's retained the title here. That's my pick. The first match opened up on the main card. I was back and forth between two matches. But thinking how AEW has structured their cards lately, they usually don't open with a championship match. So, it was between the two tag matches. I always feel a tag match is a good way to start off a card. And I think if you want to start off the crowd hot, especially a full crowd, the first time you're having a full crowd on pay-per-view in over a year, in 14 months, well, 15 months because the last one was in February of 2020, I believe it was, yeah. Start with this match. Sting and Darby Allin taking on the team of Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Now, first I want to talk about the heels in this match, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. I wasn't completely sold on them as a team at first. Especially Scorpio Sky. I mean, I like Scorpio Sky. I just still feel his heel turn was a little bit random, and it felt super duper typical. Just a random guy who, is very underrated. Definitely, is a big upcoming star. Has had some opportunities already, but didn't capitalize. It just still seemed just a slight bit random his heel turn. But some of the promos him and Page have cut recently, I've been impressed. So, to be real, until maybe a week or two ago, I was thinking that they were going to win because I was impressed. As a team, they're growing on me. I mean, again, I know a lot of people complain that AEW has too many factions, too many tag teams. To be honest, I agree. I mean, WWE could use more tag teams, basically, of course, but we don't want to send any of these guys to WWE. They're not going to be booked well there. And of course, I feel like a lot of people are not going to have opportunities to feel relevant unless they're involved in some sort of team or some sort of alliance right now, which may be the case. Who knows? So yeah, but until like a week or two ago, I thought we were going to give this match to Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and maybe start teasing, build for a future match with Darby Allin and Sting. However, though, I'm looking at the circumstances again. First off, this is the first pay-per-view in front of a full live crowd, because they've been having 15% fans for a while, but this is the first match in a full live crowd on pay-per-view in 15 months. And it is also the first time we'll see Sting wrestle in front of a live audience since Night of Champions in 2015 for WWE. I don't think they're going to give it to the heels in this match. I think they're going to give it to Sting and Darby Allin. It's more so like, if it wasn't for that, I'd say give it to Page and Sky. To give them, a little bit of momentum going forward. Because Darby Allin and Sting, I feel like if they took a loss here, they'd be okay. I mean, Darby just dropped the TNT title to Miro, and yes, I know he's not going for a rematch right now. I don't get why. I don't get why AEW does not do rematches, such as Chris Jericho not getting his rematch for the world title. I still think MJF has a case to get a rematch for the world title, since Moxley, even though they both kind of cheated in that match, I feel like MJF should go after that. I also don't understand why FTR never got a rematch for the tag titles, but it's beyond me. But because of the moment of what this moment is for Sting, I'm giving this match to Sting and Darby. That's what I think is going to win this. But again, hats off. Still, I do agree. I don't want to see Page and Sky though just job out though to Darby and Sting. Because I do think they do deserve to have a little bit of, like a showcase to, show their talents, because they're both great talents. But again, I think that with it being the moment, I'm giving it to Sting and Darby. So that's my pick for the opening match. I'm predicting for Double or Nothing. Second match on the card is this Casino Battle Royale. And let me look up all the participants in this match. Where is it? Predictions. Go to Smarkout moment because it had the list there. The list. I haven't pulled out the list in ages. Also, I should wear that shirt tonight actually for the pay-per-view. I haven't worn it in ages. Let me see here. Let me see. Scrolling down. I wish I was a little bit more prepared. Aha. The Casino Battle Royale. 21-man Casino Battle Royale, I believe it is. Here are the participants so far. We got Anthony Bowens, Brian Pillman Jr., Christian Cage, Colt Cabana, Dustin Rhodes, Evil Uno, Griff Garrison, Isaiah Cassidy, Jungle Boy, Lee Johnson, Mark Quinn, Matt Hardy, Matt Sydal, Max Caster, Nick Comoroto, Penta El Zero Miedo, Powerhouse Hobbs, Preston Vance, QT Marshall, The Blade, and one surprise entrant, a mystery person. There's definitely, first let's address, first off, this is again for a number one contendership for the AEW World Championship. So of course the winner of this, I'm pretty sure, will be having the match, whether if it's a network special or not, but on the first episode of Dynamite when they're back on the road in July. I'm pretty sure that's probably when they're going to have that match. And it could be Fyre Fest also, like I said. But the mystery person. I know there's two names floating around right now. Because it's definitely not going to be like Samoa Joe or any of that batch that was released back in April, because they have the 90-day no-compete clause. I'm pretty sure most of those guys, because I saw a vignette whenever I watched Rebellion with Joe recently. I'm pretty sure most of those guys are going to Impact, going to be at Slammiversary. You never know, though. Some could still pop up in AEW. But based off of the recent releases or people who let their contract expire, there's two people I think that could possibly be showing up in this Casino Battle Royale as mystery partner. I know some people think it's going to be Daniel Bryan, while appearing as Bryan Danielson. It could. Who knows? I don't know. I still don't know his status. I mean, obviously he is been moved to the alumni section for WWE ever since he lost to Roman Reigns. Now, of course, the storyline was so that he was only banned from SmackDown, not from WWE in general. I think the biggest reason why, though, he's my second, I'd say he'd be like not my first choice, is because I still don't have the satisfaction he's gone. You see, if it was Daniel Bryan, if I was Daniel Bryan, I would want, I feel like, out of respect, he should have a proper send-off if he really did leave WWE. He should have, like look at the story of the man, for crying out loud. He had to retire, and then he came back out of retirement, and within, let me see here, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, within 7 months, he won the world title, and had a good run with it as the heel champion, and eventually put over Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania 35. And he's had a couple other series of good matches. So, he's put on the workload since coming back, after being able to return from his career-ending concussion injuries. Why would they literally just not give him like a, even though it's to be piped in, give him like a sign of respect, piped in crowd standing ovation as he left? Why just write him off like he's a nobody? Or not even give him like that show of respect or anything? I don't know. I don't know. It's like, because of that, I still feel like his time in WWE may not be over yet. He may go to Raw, or my prediction is put him in NXT. Put him in NXT and have him have a match. My predicted match in the thumbnail for my NXT TakeOver in your house card is still Daniel Bryan and Johnny Gargano. I do not know why. I mean, there's a lot of other names in NXT that I think would have great matches with Daniel Bryan. One in particular, of course, that did, not last year, but the year before, when Survivor Series was Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole, still one of my favorite live TV matches I've seen. Excellent match. But Johnny Gargano and Daniel Bryan is still, to me, the biggest dream match I have in WWE right now, especially in NXT. But he still could show up here. I'm not going to rule it out. It's just, I'm not fully satisfied and confident about how they wrote him off. So, I'm going to go with who a lot of people are thinking, and it could be Andrade, or whatever his new name's going to be. It could be Andrade, because he was released the same night of Fastlane, I believe it was, back in February. So, March, April, May. Yeah, his 90 days are up. He's free as a bird. I know he's going to be wrestling Kenny for the AAA title in Mexico, I think, sometime soon. But yeah, his 90 days are up. He could very well be appearing here. I think he might be the biggest prediction. Other than that, I have no clue. I have no idea, but he could be the one who makes his AEW debut in this match. As far as the winner goes, obviously there's a few names, I'm floating around here. I'd say the two I would possibly go with is either Jungle Boy, which would probably be my second pick, but the person I think is going to win this is Christian Cage. I think this is going to be his match to win. It's his first pay-per-view match in AEW since he made his debut at Revolution and signed his AEW contract just a month after he appeared in the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble match, which I still thought he was going to come back and have a run with Edge and be tag champions again, but I guess didn't work out. Of course, WWE was not going to clear him probably for that. But so he came here, but I still think the match to do, again, if they are going to do the AEW World Championship match on the first AEW episode back on the road, whether it's Dynamite or Fyter Fest or whatever they called the show that night, a good match I thought we could be getting here at Double or Nothing is Christian Cage and Kenny Omega. So, yeah, Christian Cage is my pick to win. Now, if there's one other name I kind of hope gets a little bit of a rub in this match, it's Powerhouse Hobbs. Because obviously they're kind of doing some sort of little mini feud with Christian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs of Team Taz. And I think Powerhouse Hobbs could use like an Iron Man like dominant performance, but it's like the runner up or something. I think he should get like a little bit of a rub here in this match, because out of all the members of Team Taz, he's definitely like barely been given any sort of spotlight. It's basically been Brian Cage and Ricky Starks so far. So I'm kind of hoping this is kind of where Powerhouse Hobbs gets kind of more of like a rub here with this. So yeah, that is my pick. That's my pick for the Casino Battle Royale is Christian Cage. The next match, this is going to be good. Hangman Adam Page versus Brian Cage. Page versus Cage. Page versus Cage. This will be good. I feel like this is going to kind of like fall into the same place where Hangman Adam Page and Matt Hardy did at Revolution. Had a good match, but it's probably one of the weaker matches on the card. So it's probably like a little bit more of like a cool down. Well, I wouldn't say more of a cool down because we really are just coming off of because usually I try to put like some of the bigger matches, throughout cards, but AEW always seems to want to hold like the bigger like championship matches, not all of them, but most of them toward later in the card, which is why I didn't open up the show with the tag title match. If it was a tag title match, I probably would have maybe put this match a little bit further down the card. But as far as just winning this, I'm going to say Adam Page. I think Cage recently had a win over Page recently, but I think they're doing the rematch here. If they are going to do Kenny and Hangman at All Out, which I'm still thinking they should, unless, because again, I am still hearing rumors they want to put like a New Japan title on him at Wrestle Kingdom in January, then they may be holding off on it for a while, unless they do like a match at All Out and a match at Revolution, or they kind of do like a different route with the story, or like just kind of like like fuel up the story a little bit more again. I'm not sure, but I think Hangman's coming up with a win here, to kind of get his name buzzing again. I think it is back in the running for it. If Cage wins, though, I won't be disappointed, but I think this is Hangman's match to win. So I got Hangman, Adam Page over Brian Cage, since, there's too many ages here. Match number 5. This, in my opinion, could be one of my candidates for match of the night. Miro, the newest TNT champion, taking on the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer. But first, I gotta keep saying it. Can they please make up their mind about Lance Archer? Is Lance Archer a face, or is he a heel? I don't know anymore. When he was teasing a match with Sting, which we may get later this summer, maybe. He came across as a heel. But then he was teamed up with people like Jon Moxley, against Kenny Omega, and another person before, of course, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley reunited. And then he's helping out like Pac and Death Triangle in their feud with Eddie Kingston they had. And then he was, I don't know, he's been so bad ever since he lost to Cody last year. His dynamic's been so back and forth, and I just wish they would get a little more consistent with it, because it's still throwing me off. Take that out of the picture, though. This is going to be a killer match. It's going to be awesome. Again, they capitalized on Miro at the right time. I still feel he was the right choice for them to throw the TNT title on, because if they didn't, it was going to be a weird position for Miro. Because, like I said, after, the wedding with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, he was kind of in like a directionless position. Because there was no fallout, really, from that wedding segment. And nothing really that was any excuse to keep him with Kip Sabian. So, I feel like they made the right move really quick by putting the TNT title on him. And they're really fueling him up right now. At some point, he is going to be AEW World Champion. So, they're making things right with Miro. And even though I know the booking of Lance Archer has been weird, this is still going to be an awesome match. But I see Miro getting the victory here. I mean, Lance Archer's the kind of guy where it's like, he has momentum behind him. Yes, he probably could win a few more matches. He's been given a few opportunities already for championships, like the TNT title last year in the finals of the TNT Championship Tournament. He also lost to Jon Moxley in a match last October or November it was, for the AEW World title. So I'd hate to see him lose again, but Miro needs this one more. I think he should have like a longer reign, get built up very good. I mean, I'm not sure who would take the TNT title off of him next, but give him a good reign with this TNT championship and really build him as a dominating monster. And him taking out the Murder Hawk Monster would be awesome. This is going to be a pretty good Haas fight, I think we're going to get from these two. So yeah, that should be good. Check the live chat here real quick before we move on. Tia Couponer is saying that Serena will retain her title. This would be a great swerve to have Paige and Sky win, which would be nice again. But like I said, give it, again, if it wasn't for the moment for Sting, I would have definitely been probably picking Paige and Sky and start maybe teasing towards All Out having Darby versus Sting. That's what I'm still predicting. Let me see here. We got Melvin's Match Chat. New name. What's up, Melvin? Doing pretty good about himself. He's picking Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Britt Baker, Cody Rhodes, Christian Cage, Adam Page, Inner Circle, Serena Deeb, Darby Allin Sting, and Miro. Nice. Could the Mystery Man be from Impact Wrestling? It could be. I don't know if they'll do Rich Swann to come back and try to get a rematch for his rebellion for his championship, or try to take Kenny's title, or if they would maybe do, because Big Cass recently debuted in Impact as under W. Morrissey, which is his real first initial and his real last name. I don't know who else could be there, but possibly. Cage is his pick 2. Page should win this. TNT title match ends up in a double DQ or a count out. Interesting there. Interesting prediction for sure, but possibly. Who knows? But this will still be a good match. Yeah, I still think this match to me has a good chance of being matched tonight, I feel. But let's move along here. Actually, let me go check on the laundry really fast. I'll be right back. Stay tuned, everybody. Alright, guys, yes, I am back. I am back here. Sorry about that again. I just, with me being home by myself, I was trying to get a couple loads of laundry done before I leave tonight. Again, to go to the dance to watch AEW and then down to my girlfriend's afterwards. So I wanted to get that done, a couple other things done, so I thought I'd take a quick little breather, get that taken care of, and get back to the show. So yes, so far for my predictions for the first 5 matches on this card, I have Serena Deeb retaining on the buy-in. I got Sting and Darby Allin defeating Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Just don't have them job to them. The Casino Battle Royale, the winner gets a shot at the AEW World title, which I'm predicting will be on the first show back on the road for AEW in July. Probably when they get a title match. My pick is Christian Cage to win that match. I'm also predicting my number 1 pick is going to be Andrade debuting. If not, maybe Daniel Bryan. But I also think Jungle Boy also is a good candidate for to win this match also. And I'm also hoping, I don't think he's going to win, but I'm hoping that Powerhouse Hobbs gets a good performance in that match. Like, kind of like being like the Iron Man of that match, basically. So, there's that one. I think Hangman Adam Page will beat the Machine, Brian Cage, and I have Miro defeating Lance Archer in the TNT Championship match. Moving on to the next match. Match number 6. The match that I think should have had a stipulation. It is the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, taking on the team of Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. How on earth can you not have a tag match involving Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston being without like a street fight stipulation or something like that? I mean, I'm hoping this isn't going to be their only match as a tag team, because my prediction for the winner, of course. But even so, like, the story just writes itself. This has been a blood feud with Jon Moxley and the Elite, going back to his feud with Kenny Omega, with his lights out unsanctioned match, even of course the one-on-one match he had with him at Winter is Coming, where Kenny won the championship, and the exploding barbed wire death match also, despite the finish, of course. But so this has been like a long blood feud with Jon Moxley and the Elite. And of course, Eddie Kingston, his longtime friend that he feuded with last fall, where Eddie basically earned that spot himself by how good of a job he did coming into AEW. So now they're obviously putting them back together and giving Moxley a new direction since he's no longer in the world title picture. So I think they're going to give this match to Eddie and Moxley. I think they should win the tag titles because, I mean, if not, then Eddie Kingston could get back to who I think should eventually dethrone Miro for the TNT Championship. How about Eddie Kingston? I mean, Miro's a heel right now. Eddie's a face, team with Moxley, but I feel like this team should have run the tag titles. So I'm going to give it to Moxley and Kingston. I mean, Young Bucks have been fine. Not as flashy as tag champions as I thought, but they've done a good job. But I think right now we gotta capitalize and put it on Moxley and Kingston for Kingston's more so for Kingston's sake, not steak. Kingston steak. I'm going for steak right now. Actually, I haven't had steak in weeks, but yeah, I think this should be for Moxley and Kingston. I think they're a team that should have a run with the tag titles. I'd say so. So that's my pick. I'm picking Moxley and Kingston to win the tag titles over the Young Bucks. Next match, number 7. Kind of a cool down match. I feel like we're gonna need a little bit of like a cool down match from that tag title match. Even though I wish it would have had a stipulation to it, but it's not. The American Dream, Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. It's basically going to be America versus Britain. This is what I'd say. Even though I am intrigued by Anthony Ogogo, this might be the match that I'm the least excited about. I don't know, the whole, America versus Britain thing feels a touch random. I feel like it didn't quite need to happen like that way. But if Cody Rhodes is gonna, wrestle like a new talent and kind of like, put them on the map, I would agree that Anthony Ogogo would be the right candidate. I know a lot of people think that Cody's gonna beat up. I mean, here's the thing. Cody Rhodes is gonna be coming out as the American Dream. Basically, a representation of his father. And I know a lot of people would say that Cody's going to win this by basically having his father's powers. And it's kind of like the same scenario as it was for, I'll go with the opposite direction of it, but I'm going to sound like a complete hypocrite. So earlier on, when I predicted Sting and Darby Allin, I had Paige and Sky going over. But that was because Sting is, still an active wrestler. This is still a historical moment for him. Cody Rhodes taking his father's gimmick is a nice touch, but I feel like it's not as big of a deal to me as it is for Sting coming back and wrestling in front of a full live crowd for the first time in 6 years. So I kind of, let Sting and Darby have that moment. But this here, even though it's kind of like American Dream, Cody Rhodes in a different gimmick versus Anthony Ogogo, I'm intrigued by Ogogo. So I'm actually going to pick Ogogo to win. I'm intrigued with his knockout style. Like, he just has a different, uniqueness to him. And I'm interested to see what he has to offer. And also, I'm kind of starting to jump on that train of I feel Cody Rhodes may need to turn heel. I mean, I love Cody. I love what he's done for the business. I love how he's really, taken off with AEW and what he's led to it. I think, though, his time as a babyface, though, is starting to run out. A heel turn might be needed to refresh him. Especially if he wants to get back into the world title picture. Because, again, remember, Full Gear 2019, he lost that match. He's not supposed to be wrestling for the World Championship again. However, as a corporate figure and as a heel, he could work a way to change that or something like that. Just saying. But I feel like Ogogo should win this. I mean, I know people think it's going to be Cody beating up Ogogo, but I don't know. I even still think, thinking more so of like a moment perspective, with him being American Dream Cody Rhodes, I still feel they may give it to Anthony, but I honestly want Ogogo. I'm feeling Ogogo more for this. So that's what I'll go with. I'll stick with my pick, Anthony Ogogo. I know it's probably going to be a rare choice, a not popular one. I still feel Ogogo. So that's my pick, Anthony Ogogo. Next match. Here is what I want to call a make it or break it situation. This is one of those matches where if they do not pull the trigger here, I'm not going to be happy. This match, the AEW Women's World Championship match. We've got Hikaru Shida, who just this past week celebrated 1 year as AEW Women's World Champion. Congratulations. She's done a good job. She's not been the greatest champion I've ever seen, but she's done a good job as champion. She's taking on Dr. Britt Baker. DMD. These two had a match, I believe it was back on April 8th, 2020 last year. Because I think it was the thumbnail for my April 8th Dynamite review, I think. And it was a good match, and it was a known moment whenever Hikaru Shida busted open Britt Baker's nose. That was not too long after Britt Baker had solidified her heel turn. Here's my thing, though. Even though this match has kind of already happened, this is the first time it's happening on pay-per-view, I am starting to feel like they're waiting a little bit too long to capitalize on Britt Baker. Obviously, when she came in, she was the first women's wrestler, I think, to sign with AEW. She was also, obviously, the biggest name. She basically was the Kenny Omega of the women's division. When Double or Nothing, when AEW started, Kenny Omega was the big name. People thought that Kenny Omega was going to be the one who's going to be running the show. Instead, they started off with Chris Jericho as world champion, which I thought was a good move. I think Chris Jericho, working the show, building up stars around Chris Jericho, was a good move. Just giving it to Kenny Omega right away would have made it a little bit too obvious. Get a little bit more character development there. Because Chris Jericho, he's wrestled all over the world. WWE, WCW, New Japan, a little bit of time in Impact. He's mixed it up. Kenny Omega, though, he may not be quite as known to the live audience. Even though we obviously knew coming in, he's the big guy. So him and the Young Bucks, they slowly built him up on the fans who were familiar with him. And then they capitalized, gained the title. Now they're going all out with him. And the Young Bucks as world champions also, with the tag titles. Now it's time to do that with Britt Baker. Honestly, if she didn't get hurt last year, I feel All Out could have been where they put the title on her. But obviously, they brought her back at All Out. She had that weird match with Big Swole. And then it seemed like, after that, it's like she needed a little bit more time to heal. But now that she's completely healthy, she's 100% healthy again and everything, she seems good to go. I think, though, it should have happened for her at Revolution. Instead, whatever that the name was who won that women's eliminator match, like her and Sheeta put on a good match, but I think that tournament should have been Baker's to win. Like, that tournament felt like how it did for Kenny Omega when he would storm through everyone to get to the world title and win the world title. That's how it should have been for Britt Baker. I still think that should have been where it was. And when they didn't capitalize on there, I was like, uh-oh. So, but the thing is, though, they continued their feud with Thunder Rosa, which they had two really good matches, which were, those matches were at Beach Break and at the St. Patrick's Day episode with that unsanctioned match. So, she has quietly climbed the ranking system back to being on top. They gotta put it on Britt here. If they don't put it on Britt, it'll feel too late, in my opinion. So, this is the night, 2 years since the rival episode, where I think that they should finally capitalize on Britt Baker and put the women's title on her. And give her a pretty darn good reign with it, too. Maybe till, Revolution or for another year. Again, they gave Hikaru Shida a year-long reign. Why can't they give Britt Baker a long reign, too, So, that's my pick. The new AEW Women's World Champion will be Dr. Britt Baker. DMD. Fellow Pittsburgher here as well. So, and of course, she'll go home and she'll have a great celebration with, say it with me, guys, Adam Cole, baby! Yeah, that's right. So yeah, my pick is Brent to win the championship. As I said, they need to capitalize on here. This is going to be one of those things where if they do not capitalize here, I'm going to be a little unhappy. But we'll see. But either way, it's still going to be a good match. And another candidate I think that could steal the show is this match here. But we will see. Next match, match number 9, is the triple threat match. The first multi-man, well, besides like a 6-man or something like that, but the first triple threat match I believe AEW's had, on pay-per-view at least. Kenny Omega versus Pac and Orange Cassidy for the AEW World Championship. So, I think this is going to be good. Kenny and Pac have a little bit of a history. They put on some really good matches. Obviously, Pac was a person who really put Orange Cassidy on his match, on the map with their match at AEW Revolution 2020. And since, Pac has returned to the United States, best friends have been reunited after, I think it was, Trent was out with an injury for a while. They kind of reignited that feud between Pac and Orange Cassidy, and I'm like, cool, because they have a good history, good matches. I'll be real though, I did not expect it to result in both of them getting a world title shot. Because this feud still feels like, well, because the storyline at first, when they first announced, because both of them were at the top of the ranking system, the story seemed to write itself for it being Kenny Omega and Orange Cassidy, because nobody expected Cassidy to win. And then apparently, the original finish to that match, with the number one contenders match, was supposed to be it going to a draw. And both of them are in the title shot. But instead, because Orange Cassidy had got injured in that match, they made a triple threat match by Kenny Omega interfering. This is still going to be good. It's just too predictable. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be good, but I feel like it's not going to be Kenny's best match because of how predictable it's going to be. I mean, yes, you could have thrown like Christian Cage in there or somebody else, and you knew that Kenny was probably going to win this one. But I feel like this is going to be good, but not as good as some other singles match they could have done instead. But it will still be good. But Kenny's winning, there's no doubt about it. That's all I gotta say about that one. And then the main event, match number 10. It's a big one. It is the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, Santana and Ortiz, Jake Hager, and Sammy Guevara take on the Pinnacle, which is the team of MJF, FTRs, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler, Wardlow, and the chairman, Shawn Spears, in a stadium stampede match. This was the main event of Double or Nothing last year, with the Inner Circle taking on the Elite, which consisted of Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, and Broken Matt Hardy. And it was an excellent, definitely, I think it was my number 2 match of the year, I think it was last year. I think it was, yeah. It was number 2, and number 1 was, well, in AEW at least, it was the match of the year. Overall, it still to be went to The Undertaker and AJ Styles in the Boneyard match at WrestleMania 36 last year. But last year, what I loved about that Stadium Stampede match, it was a big mixture of different, like, character gimmicks in that match. Like, especially Matt Hardy. I think Matt Hardy was, to me, in my opinion, may have had, the most moments in that match. Because he literally was transferring from, different versions of Matt Hardy. Which was highlight. We had, of course, the whole thing with, Hangman Adam Page riding the horse. And Chris Jericho had his moments there. We had Sammy Guevara getting chased by a golf cart again. It just had its mix of different character moments. And it felt like just about everyone in that match got their spotlight somehow. That structure, I don't think is going to quite be able to be applied for in this match. I mean, this is going to be a great one, but I feel like it's going to be more so of like a big like street fight brawl, and not as much like character moments in the match. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it's going to be more so of like a 10-person like tornado like tag match or like a big brawl. This is not going to be in the ring. It's going to be in the stadium, in the Jaguars' home field. So with that being said, like I'm not expecting this to be quite as good as it was last year, but it's still going to be a good match. But definitely has the biggest stipulation of the night. If the Inner Circle lose this match, then they have to break up. And of course, if they win, then they're fine. I don't know who to pick here, though. My gut, I still pick in the Inner Circle. But if the Inner Circle loses, it leads to a storyline, though, where they break up and go their own ways. I don't know what this would mean for Chris Jericho, since, he's 50 years old, and, he has, Fozzy, if he's going back on tour again, I don't know. You got, Santana and Ortiz, Pride and Powerful, who I still feel should have a run with the tag titles. Jake Hager, I don't know what he'd do by himself. Sammy Guevara, though, I feel like of everyone in the group, if they were to split up, he's ready to be a singles competitor. He's ready to be on his own. And I feel like he could get the next big, massive babyface push in the company. In fact, he'd be again, I'd say, who did I say earlier? Who besides Sammy now? Who did I say? Who was it now? Not Jungle Boy. Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston or Sammy Guevara, I think eventually would be a good name to be TNT champion after Miro gets a good run with it. I don't know, though. Like, even if the Pinnacle win here, where would they go next? Where if the Inner Circle does, they could do a third match. Which, I don't know what stipulation is to top it off. But I don't see a direction for every single person in the Inner Circle if they lose and break up here. Which is why I'm still going to stick with the Inner Circle, but I'm not sure where this goes next. Because, like, again, if the Pinnacle win, what do they do? If they lose, we could do a third match, but what would the stipulation be? Like, if they did a third match, I'd say give it to the Pinnacle there. But I think this is the safer bet here is going to be the Inner Circle. I think they get the victory, heat them up a little bit more, give it a little bit more time, and then, like I said with, the Shield, break them up on their highest note when you don't expect it, pretty much. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with the Inner Circle winning this match. And those are my predictions. Again, my picks again for all 10 matches: Serena Deeb, Sting and Darby Allin, Christian Cage, Hangman Adam Page, Miro, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, Anthony Ogogo, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Kenny Omega, and the Inner Circle winning the Stadium Stampede match in the predicted main event of this card. Live chat, what are your thoughts? Let me see what we got here. Bless you, thank you. Welcome back. Young Bucks retain, but this match should have been a street fight. I agree. You wouldn't mind if Moxley and Kingston won the titles either. Upset pick, Cody loses. Dusty Rhodes finish. Interesting. That'd be a nice way. New champ, Britt Baker, but hats off to 1 year of a title run for sure. And yes, Adam Cole, baby! Omega retains with a lot of help, probably. An Inner Circle for the win. Wonder what the third match will be between them versus the Pinnacle. I really don't know, because I'd say like Hell in a Cell, but they did Blood and Guts, which is similar to Hell in a Cell or War Games. I don't know. What would be a good stipulation? I mean, I don't think like a light an unsanctioned match or anything would be any different than the Stadium Stampede, but who knows? But again, I'm interested to see how that goes down, especially like I said, with last year's got dirt in my ear or something. With last year's Stadium Stampede being very character driven, I feel like this year's not going to be able to be as character driven because most of the wrestlers in that match don't have like character dominating gimmicks. I feel like, if that makes any sense, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to clean my ears or something here and then get moving with my day here. But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Again, I'm watching Double or Nothing tonight, but don't expect a review until probably Tuesday night after work. So guys, that's going to do it. What are your thoughts? What are your picks for AEW Double or Nothing 2021? What's your match of the night going to be? Do you have match your candidates? Candidates, not candidates. Candidates. What match do you think is going to steal the show at Double or Nothing? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. And follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. With that, guys, I'll check it out. I'll see you all later. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Enjoy AEW Double or Nothing. And I'll see you all later. Peace out, everybody.